Hey, it's Liz from Thrice, and it is Web3 Wednesday. So, this week I want to talk about what bigger brands are doing in the Web3 space. Some are launching membership clubs, some are doing collectibles or events, all kinds of different things. Here at Thrice, we created a membership club with access to discounts and experiences and opportunity to speak with experts, with the idea that cannabis in particular is so difficult to advertise and for brands to connect with consumers because of all the limitations that exist in the cannabis world. Those limitations don't exist in other categories the way they do in cannabis, but that hasn't stopped big brands from looking at this new technology and looking at the Web3 space and saying, how are there new ways that we can connect with our consumers? And across a lot of different categories, whether it's food and beverage, where you've got Starbucks, I did a big Web3 Wednesday on them recently, Pepsi, alcohol companies like Bud Light, Hennessy, they're all thinking about ways to connect directly with consumers. And the apparel industry, in particular luxury apparel like Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, and the like have dived in, as well as Nike. Nike's been one of the biggest players, and Adidas has followed suit, and other athletic-oriented brands like Lacoste have come in as well. Tiffany and McLaren in the luxury category, and other sort of broadly speaking, we've got media companies like Time and GQ. You've got MAC Cosmetics, Hyundai even from the car category. And very recently, Spotify announced that not only are they getting into the space, but they're going to help create a wallet for you automatically within your Spotify account and create some special playlists that come with NFTs that are going to be able to be redeemed for access to special events and access to special music and whatnot in the future. They're kind of figuring it out now. But the thing that's interesting about that is because they're creating this wallet for you, they're going to be able to pull consumers along. And I think Starbucks is another one. They're trying to make it, hey, you've already got a Starbucks app on your phone. Let's add this Web3 element to it and get more people using this technology. And I think that's the kind of thing it's going to take. When Android and Apple make this very easy with our phones, we're going to see a lot more uptake of NFTs. But who's using them today? Okay, so in the US, last September, survey showed there were about 6.6 million people in the US using NFTs or owning NFTs, which was on par with the global average on a percentage basis. Not surprisingly, men are 3 times as likely to own an NFT as women. I think this is because trading and gaming are the primary use cases, and men tend to do more of those two things than women. Also, not surprisingly, it's younger folks. A little over half of all NFT owners are between 18 and 34. This is another reason brands are getting in, because they want to capture this young audience when they're just starting to make money and have money to spend, and get them as lifetime consumers of their brands. And a third of the owners are in that 35 to 54 age. Again, not surprising, new technology, new adoption. So who's in it for the long game? I wanted to call out Nike in particular, because they were sort of the second biggest. I think Prada made a little bit more than 185 million last year, which is what Nike made in NFT revenue. But it's a pretty substantial number for a new industry. Even though as a company, Nike did almost 47 billion in revenue, 185 million is enough for them to say, okay, there's a there. And they would love to do more and more marketing that's what I call peer-to-peer, one-to-one marketing, rather than having to go through third-party platforms. Most Nikes are sold through retailers like Foot Locker And they've spent a fortune on ads. I think 3 billion on advertising last year, which goes through networks, which goes through Google and Facebook, and places that are capturing that. And with an NFT being sold direct to consumer, they've got that one-to-one relationship. They've launched a platform called Swoosh, which is their NFT platform, and they're starting to offer prizes for designing things. A $5,000 prize doesn't sound like a whole lot, but if you're the artist that says you were able to help Nike come out with a new shoe design, that's going to be worth a whole heck of a lot more than $5,000. And they also, at the end of 2021, they bought a studio called Artifact, which is a Web3 development studio. They spent about $33 million for it. Some say that acquisition was, worth $1 billion. I'm not sure about that, but needless to say, I think you're going to continue to see brands making acquisitions in this space when it looks like, hey, we can buy some technology, we could buy some knowledge, and we can have a fast track to this one-on-one consumer relationship, which I think ultimately is what all these brands are looking for. So there's a little bit of a wide take on what's happening with brands in Web3. It's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this year develops, but I think we're going to see more and more, and we'll be sure to cover the highlights here on Web3 Wednesday.